Okay, if you have a phone, you definitely have this problem. A never-ending stream of unwanted calls and texts. It's maddening, right? But what if I told you there's a federal law that could turn this huge annoyance into, well, a major payday? Let's break down exactly how that works.
You know the scene, we've all been there. You're finally sitting down to eat, ready to relax, and your phone buzzes. Unknown number. You just know it's another robocall about your car's extended warranty. It's like they have a sixth sense for the worst possible moment to interrupt.
And it's not just the calls, is it? It's the constant barrage of texts, too. Messages from political campaigns, companies you've never even heard of, or those really sketchy links promising a free gift card. Our phones have basically become billboards for digital junk mail.
I mean, it really feels like a battle you just can't win. You block one number and two more pop up in its place. You put your name on the do not call list and somehow the calls just keep on coming. So what is actually going on here? Why is it so relentless?
Well, the reason it feels like a flood is because, honestly, it is. There's this massive and surprisingly sophisticated industry humming along behind the scenes making all these messages happen. This isn't just a few rogue spammers. It's a whole system.
So here's the business model in a nutshell. First, these automated platforms make it incredibly cheap to send out millions of texts and calls. It costs them practically nothing. At the same time, you have these lead generation services that scrape your phone number from online forms. You know, anytime you sign up for a quote or enter a contest, yeah, that. They then sell your number to marketers, who then sell it again. By the time a company is spamming you, they often have no real idea if you ever actually gave them permission.
But here's the thing. While this whole system is powerful, it is not invincible. In fact, there's a federal law on the books designed specifically to put a very real price tag on your privacy. And that price tag, it can be pretty significant. We're talking about a law that gives you, the consumer, a really powerful tool to fight back against all those illegal robocalls and spam texts.
It's called the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, or you'll hear it called the TCPA. Now, don't let that 1991 date fool you. I know, it sounds ancient, right? It was written before anyone even had a smartphone. But the courts have consistently applied it to modern tech, including all those automated text messaging platforms.
And this right here is the absolute core idea behind the law. The TCPA doesn't require you to prove you lost any money from a spam text. Congress got it. They understood that the real harm is the invasion of your privacy, the constant interruption of your life. So they created something called statutory damages, which is just a fancy legal term for a preset penalty for every single violation.
So, what is that price tag? How much is your privacy actually worth under this law? The TCPA sets up a really clear two-tiered system for this.
Okay, here's the starting line. For every single illegal robocall or unwanted automated text you receive, the baseline penalty is $500. And let me be clear, that is not for a whole campaign of messages. That is per violation, per individual text.
But wait, it can get even more serious. Those penalties can jump up dramatically if the company sending the messages knew or really should have known that they were breaking the law. And this often comes into play when you've already told them to stop and they just keep going.
And this is where it gets really interesting. That $500 penalty can be tripled to $1,500 per violation. So think about it. If you reply stop to a text message and they text you again anyway, that very next message could be worth $1,500.
So the big question is what actually makes a message illegal? It really boils down to two key things. First is the technology they're using. We're talking about automated dialing systems that can just blast out messages, not a real person typing a message just to you. And second, and this is the big one, is whether or not you gave them the right kind of permission.
And you can see from this table, those penalties add up fast. Just 5 texts sent without your permission could be worth $2,500. And what if you told them to stop and they just kept texting? 10 more texts could potentially mean $15,000. This is the kind of math that makes companies finally pay attention and think twice about ignoring your rights.
Consent. This really is the heart of almost every single one of these cases. Did you give them permission? And if you did, what kind of permission was it? The law is actually very specific about this, and it's a crucial distinction.
So there are basically 2 main levels. Prior express consent is what you give when you hand over your number for a specific reason, like getting a delivery notification for a package. But for marketing messages sent with automated tech, companies usually need a much higher standard, prior express written consent. That's where you have to explicitly agree, like checking a box, to receive promotional texts.
And here's something really important to remember. Even if you gave consent at some point, you always have the right to take it back. And you can do it in any reasonable way. Replying stop is the classic one. But also, just telling a live agent, put me on your do not call list, or clicking an unsubscribe link, those are all valid ways to revoke your consent.
Okay, so you're getting texts, you've told them to stop, and they're still coming through. How do you actually go about protecting your rights? Well, it all starts with gathering the evidence.
Building your case is actually pretty simple. You just need to create a digital paper trail. Screenshot every single text message, especially any that came in after you replied stop. Keep a log of the calls with the dates and times, and try to remember where the company might have gotten your number in the first place. That's the key information you'll need.
And you do have some time to act, but it's not forever. The federal statute of limitations for TCPA claims is typically 4 years. What that means is you can actually look back at calls and texts you've received over a pretty long period of time.
So the next time your phone buzzes with an unwanted message, just remember, it's more than just an annoyance. It could be a violation of federal law. The TCPA gives you the power to completely turn the tables. The only question is, are you ready to use it?